Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. It's Jeremy and JP out on Nonsuch Island in Bermuda on Saturday, the 18th of March, 2023. And we're taking advantage of a very brief gap in the just unending sort of cycle of high winds and storms and gales that Bermuda has been, suffering from really the last couple of months. Suffering from for us, for the birds, it's been great because the stronger the wind, the more they can, move out in the ocean. They're creatures of the wind, and they really are that. But as for me, it's been a bit of a nightmare because there's been gaps of up to 10 days when I have not been able to get out here at all because it's just been too rough for my little small 17-foot Boston whaler. You can get the boat swamped and be in the water if you get a big wave breaking over you. So we have a very brief period, and you can see the wind is already picking up. So we're out here for a couple of hours, and we're going to take a look at all of the chicks, weigh them. The bigger ones, we're going to measure the wing chord and perhaps the bill length, just to see how they're growing, if they're being fed properly. And they range in age now from about probably 5 or 6 days up to almost 3 weeks. So it's a good range of sizes and such. And the last time I was out here was 5 days ago on Monday, and at that time the CahowCam2 chick was just 3 days old at that point and weighed 54 grams. Now it's at about just over a week, about 8 or 9 days old now. And so we know there's been feeding visits. It's had a unwanted visit from a prospecting Cahow, which luckily the chick was not injured in. So at this point, I'll be very interested to see how much it has grown from the 54 grams it was 5 days ago. So I'm gonna take the little guy out first. Hey, how you doing? Oh yeah. And I can feel he's a little fat guy, still very small, but he feels quite plump and well fed at this point, and that's exactly what I want to see at this point in their development. So yeah, he's just over a week old, about 8 or 9 days now. Just beautiful conditions. Got a little bit of fiber stuck in his beak, which I'm going to remove from the nest material. And like I say, he's had a pretty full life, but I can see his wings are already growing compared to, first thing this week on Monday. So yeah, he's looking good. I don't see any signs of injury. The intruding Cahow did chew around his beak a lot. It was quite gentle to begin with, but it was getting more and more aggressive around the time that the father of this chick, the male bird, returned and chased the intruder out of the nest. So he's had quite a sort of eventful little life already. And like I said, 5 days ago, 54 grams, so I'll be very interested to see what he weighs now. He has been fed twice by the father bird and once by the female bird, the mother bird, since then. So it'll be very interesting for me just to see. And that's a 20-gram bag. Oh wow, yeah, he's on a great trajectory right now. Let's see, 123, so minus the weight of the bag, 103 grams. So he's effectively doubled in the last 5 days. Okay, I think the only other thing I'm going to do with him is I'm going to measure his wing chord just to see how long it is at this point, and that's probably the best indication of if you have a healthy chick that's developing normally. The wings grow at a very consistent rate, and in fact that's how we identify when chicks are ready to translocate when we were doing the 2 translocation projects. So yeah, you have to be very careful because these are really just little wing buds at this point. 24 millimeters. Okay. So yeah, I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to do his bill at this size. That's something I normally start measuring when they're a little bit older. But yeah, so you can see, so this is, like I say, about an 8 to 9 day old chick. You see he's using those little wing buds for balance already. He's got the little webbed feet with the claws on it. He still has an egg tooth on the end of his bill, and those lovely tube nose, the nostrils are combined into a tube structure that almost looks like a jet intake, and that's both for more efficient breathing. It almost rams air in like a supersonic fighter and such. You know, it drives more air in for more efficient respiration, and it also something to do and just get minute changes of wind direction and speed to do the dynamic soaring that they do over the wave tops, taking advantage of the increase of wind as you come out of the trough of a wave and go over the crest. And that's how they really navigate on the open ocean. And there's also room in there in the back of the nostrils for 2 glands, which the birds use to excrete the extra salt out of the seawater that they drink. They can drink seawater, and the glands basically work like a reverse osmosis plant. They strain out the fresh water from that, and then the birds expel the salty brine left in little drops out of their nostrils. And you can hear the adults like almost sneezing out these drops sometimes when you do a check. Okay, so I'm not going to keep my too long, although he seems to be enjoying the sun. It's nice and warm because it's been very cold temperatures, and they've been stuck in these underground burrows, you know, quite damp, cold burrows. So this probably feels quite nice for him, actually. All right, fantastic. So we're going to return him to his nest. Okay, here we go. Okay, so he looks great. Now, we have a record number of 18, possibly even 19 hatched chicks here on Nonsuch, which breaks last year's record of 15 fledged chicks. And so now we're going to go around and check all of the other chicks in here, starting with his 2 immediate neighbors and such, 830 and 817 nests, and just check on the growth and such of the chicks. So we're going to check the 8 number R830 nest. Oh yeah, and this chick is a little bit older than the CahowCam2, and not very much, only about 3 days. So this bird is about 2 weeks old, about 13, 14 days, and you can see already the difference. He's quite a bit bigger than the other one. He's a handful. In fact, he's almost a double handful now. And again, I can tell he's been fed in the last night or two, because he's very fat and plump too, and very heavy. I wouldn't be surprised if it's around about 150 grams or more, to be honest. And you can tell everything about him. The wings he's not quite as curious, you know, even though he has been handled exactly as much twice since his hatch. He's just a quieter chick, you know, but they all are like that. He's also so fat, I wouldn't be surprised if he had a little poop right in my hand in the next few minutes, so we'll see. Oh yeah, look at the wings. The wings are much longer than the CahowCam2 chick. Yeah, he looks really, really healthy though. And that seems to be what's happening with almost all of the chicks. They're being fed really well, and they are putting on weight at above average rates. You know? So that means that there's a lot of food on the ocean, and the high winds have enabled the adults to get out there and collect it for the chicks and get them back fast to the colony. So high winds means headaches for us, and just what the doctor ordered for Cahows. Oh yeah. Well, I said almost 150 grams is almost 200 grams. Let's see, 194. So that'll be 174 grams minus the weight of the bag. Yeah, he's pretty laid back, he is, actually. So I am going to just try and get his wing cord. Yeah, here we go, sweetie. I'm always very, very gentle with the wings, because at this age they're so small that it would be quite easy to injure it, or so I am exceedingly careful. Yeah, and so that's 30 millimeters. So you can see the difference. The other one was 24 millimeters. That's the difference 3 or 4 days make. This one is 30 millimeters. Yeah. And I think the last thing I'll do, I will just check his bill. But let me just write that down. Now, they really don't like having their bill handled, but I found it's an important measurement because it's one of the few ways, short of extracting blood from them, which I really don't like to do for a chick, that we can determine the sex of the bird, because the males normally have slightly bigger bills. Here we go. Okay, that's it, me. So 20.6 millimeters. Huh. That's a bit on the short side for a bird this small, so you know that might be indicating perhaps this is a female already, but really you can't tell until about the second month you know, of their development. They normally take about 90 to 100 days to fledge, rarely about 88, so about 3 months plus from hatching until they fledge out to sea. Alrighty, little fuzz bunny. Okay. Now, okay, and so for the next one, we have an older chick. This chick is about 3 weeks old. This chick actually hatched at the end of February, around February the 25th or so, 26th. So this will show, I hope, the difference when we have, oh, there's an adult in here too. Okay, I'm actually going to take this opportunity to make sure it is one of the parents and not a prospector. Hi. So it probably came in late for a feeding visit and just decided to spend the day. So I'm just going to check the band. These are 6, 8, 9. Yeah, this is the female bird, I believe. Yeah, another well-fed chick, and you can see the difference. The wings, everything is just much bigger on this bird, and he's now getting past a handful to a double handful. So this bird isn't quite a month old yet. He's about 3 weeks now, more or less. So yeah, you can see, you know, just look how much longer the wings are. They're developing. The outer wing length is developing. He feels fairly well fed. He looks in good shape. Yeah. This is one of those pairs, they only produce a chick about every 2 or 3 years. But when they do produce a chick, it's always one of the best fed and heaviest chicks in the whole colony. So they seem to go on quality and not quantity. And these are, you know, very good ones. Yeah, and his almost 200 grams a gang is actually almost the exact same weight as the 830 bird. So he probably went without a feed for a while. Let's see. Is, yeah, 190 exactly. So that'll be 170. Yeah, it's always, you always sort of wonder, okay, well, which is going to be the heaviest chick this year? You know, you just never know. Yeah, this one's already quite mobile. He's quite interested in what's going on. So yeah, so far, all 3 of these guys I've checked so far look in very healthy condition. Obviously being fed regularly and growing well. You know, I'd say they're all 3 of them are somewhat ahead of schedule right now and growing. So, yep, he's very, very attentive to what's going on around him right now. But with all that down, which is optimized to keep him nice and warm without a parent breeding them, brooding them in the cold, damp nest burrows, when they get out in full sun, it can make them overheat very quickly. So I try to either keep them in the shade or put them back in the burrow as quickly as possible. So we'll get them back in. Okay, sweetie. Okay, so yep, he's settled back in. Put the entrance in. Okay, so that's it for the video. We're just going to go on like an assembly line and process the other 15 chicks still to go in the 2 colonies and such. And we'll keep you updated on the progression. And you can see the wind's been picking up literally just since we've arrived here. So yeah, this is a very brief window of time we have to do that. And it looks like another 3 to 4 days of heavy winds before we're going to be able to come out again. So from Jeremy and JP out on Nonsuch Island, Bermuda, on a beautiful but increasingly windy 18th of March 2023. Everybody have a great day and all the best. See you soon.